Melanie Naismith here, and this is Sounds Like Us. Today's guest is leatherwork artist Kate Crowley. Sounds Like Us is a community artist project brought to you by Working for Victoria and Tauranga Shire Council. The aim of this series is to shine a light on creatives that have been influenced by the Tauranga Shire and to share a brief snapshot of their journey within the arts. You moved up to Corryong because it was cheap, which is
and beautiful.
Oh, and beautiful. So how has the area inspired you with your work that you do?
It's an interesting question. I guess it's I moved from the Dandenongs, which is also a spectacular place, but the beauty is very close. And here the beauty is in giant vistas. So it's a completely different way of experiencing. And I think I'm very influenced by the beauty of nature. So my work is it's not social so much.
Mm-hmm.
It is really a relationship to the environment. And I think that leather as a medium it's extremely tactile. It's similar to working with clay. And so it has a feeling of communing with nature.
So can you tell me a little bit about what goes into making a piece, like all the bits that happen from start, the concept through to the execution at the end of your leather work? What are all the bits involved?
It depends on what the piece is for. I used to do a lot of commissions. So that'd be working to a brief and discussing what they desired from the piece. If it was a piece that I was making for myself, it would be a lot more experimental.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a rough concept to begin with. So I make a lot of masks, and I work in the techniques of wet leather moulding and embossing, which are very, 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 very old techniques. So I would draw my piece out. I would cut my piece, soak it, stretch it, mould it, emboss it, and then probably generally several colourways I work on one piece.
With the leather. So what's actually involved in, like, what are the masks used for? Are they decorative or are they functional?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of full fantasy masks, which are decorative, used as wall hangings. And I've also done casts of productions, which is a wonderful commission to get a full cast of masks, and a great challenge to get that many different characters.
What sort of characters and productions have you worked with?
I've done smaller ones for Eagle's Nest Theatre in Brunswick, but I've done the full cast of Pinocchio, which was fantastic and a terrific challenge to try and make a Pinocchio with a telescopic nose out of leather.
Wow. I'd love to see some photos of that. If you've got any photos of that, I'd love it if you could send them through. So, okay, so that's completely different from what I had envisioned in my head. So I'm thinking, when I think leather work, I think either sort of carving of leather or more so making like saddles and stuff like that. So not your completely different scope. So what sort of stuff do you like to do for your own enjoyment with the leather work?
I really enjoy the decorative stuff. I mean, it is, for me, it's quite enjoyable to make it a practical item as well as a decorative item. It's fun to make something decorative that's just going to hang on the wall. That's lovely, but the pattern making and construction side of things is a great challenge. And I love the fact that those things tend to travel into everyday life a bit more. I did a range of instrument straps, which is a joy to go to a gig and see someone that you know playing an instrument with your own strap and know that other people can see your artwork as well. I did a beautiful mask for an artist in Melbourne called Rosie. He's a fantastic muso, and he commissioned a wolf mask for the launch of his album Wolf Council. And my partner Josh made a video for one of the tracks on that album, and to see the mask used in the context of the video was fantastic, like shockingly good. I was really chuffed with that.
So something like that wolf mask, how long does it take start to finish to do all those bits to mould it?
It's probably a 4-hour process, though usually I have to stagger it over a couple of days.
Is that because of you having to like wet things and mould and they having to set?
Yeah, that's right. Well, things have to dry in their own time. You can't force leather to dry or it will shrink. So if it dries naturally, it will hold its size.
And is there perfect leather making weather? Like, is it very temperamental, like say with some acrylics or resin, you have to have the exact right environment? Is there a perfect time of year? Is it a seasonal thing, or can you control the environment enough to work with it?
Oh, no, it's fairly flexible. I will use specialised leather for special projects like snake skins or different textures, but generally I work with vegetan leather because it's less processed and it allows you to do the moulding. A lot of processed leather becomes partially water resistant, and that's not helpful for what I do.
So do you embroider it as well? Like, do you do all your sewing and everything to put it together, or does that hand off to someone else?
Depending on how big the project is. I was apprenticed by a couple called Serpentine Design who taught me how their stuff is. They use medieval techniques. So all of their stitching is hand-stitched and watertight, incredible stitching. I found that really challenging, and I will still do those special stitches on smaller pieces, but for something large like a satchel, if I have to construct something large like a satchel, I'll use an industrial machine.
What is unique about the leather mask and straps, and why would artists choose them over other materials?
It's a difficult question. I'm obviously biased, but I find the texture is really appealing. To me, it's glaringly obvious the difference between a processed leather and a faux leather, vinyl, or even something pressed through a machine. Mm-hmm. It gets sort of a waxy consistency.
That sort of leans back into you just saying how tactile you are. And I imagine just the feel, the touch of something handcrafted is much nicer to work with and play with and have on your face or have like around your shoulder than something that's just bought off the shelf.
Absolutely. I think so. It appeals to me because there's really fine motor skills involved in working with it, and then there's also you need a lot of brute strength moulding it to get it to do what you want to do. So it's sort of a nice mixture. I get frustrated with crafts or arts that are too fine motor. So it's nice to be able to use both, I think.
Just quickly, just to finish off, how long have you been working with leather, and do you think that you can continue to get better, or are you at your peak right now?
I wish. I don't think you can get worse. And I want to continue to work, and there's so much to learn. The people who mentored or apprenticed me taught me so much. Before that, I was self-taught, and I've been working with leather since I was about 16. My parents both dabbled in it, so they had tools hanging around the house, and I had a very inspiring high school teacher who showed me some seriously impressive decorative leatherwork, and that sort of set me off. But, I plan on doing it as long as my hands will keep it up, I think.
Kate Crowley, thank you so much for joining us on Sounds Like Us. And I know you have many, many other passions and creative influences within the Corryong area. And I'd love to get you back on at another time to have a little bit of a chat. But today has been a very nice little exploration into leatherwork. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mel.
Today's episode of Sounds Like Us was hosted by Melanie Naismith and produced by Joshua Liston. Sounds Like Us was made possible by Working for Victoria and Tauranga Shire Council. For more information on Sounds Like Us and to hear more episodes from local creatives, go to tauranga.vic.gov.au.